Hi, welcome to Managing Terraform Enterprise or Cloud with PowerShell. My name is Paul Kelly. I work at City National Bank. I bring about 20 years experience in technology, and 10 of those years I've been really working a lot with PowerShell. So I wanted to give an overview of what we're going to talk about today. First, I'll just kind of go through PowerShell commandlet syntax if you're not very familiar with it. But really the bulk of the presentation is going to be around managing your Terraform organization at scale, whether that's individual workspaces or modules or many of them at once. But let's jump in. With PowerShell commandlets, they always start with verb-noun. So you can say new TF workspace, get TF workspace, copy TF workspace, whatever action item that you want to do with that, that workspace or module. You can also string together commands with pipes, and so you could do a get Terraform module GKE latest, and you can remove that module. If you want information on each of the commands, they come complete with help. There's examples that you can look at the different parameter types for each of the commands. As you're making live changes to your Terraform environment, you want to also make sure that you confirm, right? So if you're going to delete all your workspaces, it will give you a confirmation to make sure that you don't wipe out your environment. And also if you're proficient, then you can use aliases to execute these commands at a quicker rate. So why do you want to manage at scale? The business need we have is to quickly make sense of your Terraform organization. You need to manage many workspaces. There's all kinds of settings, many variables to manage. You also want to make sure that your private module registry is clean and in a state that you desire. So the solution is you get instant feedback using PowerShell connecting to the REST API, and you can leverage PowerShell's robust pipeline to manage hundreds of objects customized to your specific needs. And you can even schedule those jobs for full automation, so you don't have to worry about doing repetitive tasks on a weekly or monthly basis. So with that, let's jump into a demo. I'm going to run through backing up your workspaces. A common task is upgrading your Terraform version. So again, you can do that with one workspace or many workspaces at a time. And you can also easily compare your workspaces so that you can make sure that they're standardized across your organization. So when you open up a PowerShell window, you can use Windows or Mac. You can run git command module Terraform, and you'll see all the commands related to this Terraform module you just installed. And you can do a get alias where the source equals Terraform, and you'll get all the corresponding aliases for those commandlets. You can execute a get command *Terraform workspace and get all the verbs related to that workspace. So you can copy, get, lock, create a new Terraform workspace, remove, set, and obviously unlock. So first off, to get started, you gotta get connected, right? So hopefully you're using TerCreds, you can do a get Terraform workspace, connect to Terraform first, and then you get Terraform workspace, and it's going to return all of the workspaces in your organization at once. And you can, as you see here, you have name, version, working directory, and branches. You can measure how many workspaces. I mean, doing this to the GUI, you can already see the benefit of being able to do it at the command line. So you can, another view, which is just native to PowerShell, is you can out grid view, and then you can easily sort and filter these. If you want to copy and paste this into Excel, it'll retain the tab spacing and really gives you some good insight into just another way to view your workspaces. You can also do filtering. So get Terraform where the name is like *Tony, and it'll get all of Tony's workspaces. And you can see here very quickly the power of filtering. Depending on your naming convention, you can also, you can use any aspect of this. You can use the name, you can use the version, working directory. And so here another example is where the name is like prod, and then so you could quickly get an understanding of all of your prod workspaces. And I just threw in an alias, right? So GTFW is an alias for Get Terraform Workspace, and you can measure all of your production workspaces with that command. You can also group, so you can get Terraform Workspace and you can group it by version, and here is really great because now you can see exactly what version all of your workspaces are running on and how many of each, right? So if you need to upgrade off of version 0.11 or you want to get onto version 1, you can really group them and see and get good visibility into your environment. And you can group on any of the various fields, and you can here's an example of branch, so you can make sure that, you know, maybe if you're using, depending on your branching strategy, if it's dev or prod or just master, you can, you know, make sure that the respective branches are used. And with a simple CLI export, you can export XML and into a backup file, and I'm just going to import that and display the first 5 lines just to show that that backup file was exported. I just saved it to a backup variable, and you can select the first 5 and you'll see now you have an XML backup. So we're going to look at the first one, and you can also do a format list. So first the table is just going to display what's relevant, but you can do a format list and view all of the different properties that are associated with that. And so in the same way that you can back up to XML, you can also export this to CSV, and this is a little more you know, friendly using Excel versus XML. XML, you probably want to use it for backing up the objects. It's easy to import those objects, but then with Excel or with CSV, this is more of a good reference point if you just want to parse through and look at the data, or, you know, you could do an export. You can attach it to an email and send it out. And you can dig into the specific parameters that are within your workspace. Little snafu with Excel, but we'll just skip over that. So now let's talk about upgrading your Terraform versions at scale. All right, so we're going to get workspace, pipe that to group Terraform version, and again we just see what versions we have on the box. And so maybe I want to grab just version 0.13, and we'll see here that we have 4 workspaces that are using version 13. And so you could just upgrade them all at once, but, you know, we want to be a little more prescriptive in this, so we want to get one of them. Let's choose a dev workspace, so let's try and upgrade Joanne first, and we'll just, you know, get that one specific workspace, and then we can set that workspace version or to we're going to set that to version 1.08, and there you just saw that it prompted for confirmation. We want to always confirm that we're not going to just do things blindly, but you know, we have that confirmation prompt again built into PowerShell, and then from there we can, from the command line, we can just start a run on that. We'll let that run. We'll just assume that it all went well, and then next we're going to get whatever remains. And so now instead of 4, you see 3, and we will now set it, we'll hide that confirmation, and so now all of them are on version 1, and there are no longer any workspaces on version 13. And we'll do a comparison with what we backed up. So notice our backup, we have that as a reference point, but now in Terraform we don't have any version 13. And we'll just confirm with a group, right? So we'll get Terraform Workspace, we'll group that by version, and notice that they're no longer 0.13. Another thing we can change, just you know, another example would be maybe you want to standardize on some branching, and we can do look for all of John's workspaces. We'll notice that he's not following the branching convention. So we want to set those other branches to use main so that they're standardized. So we'll just confirm all of them. And now when we run and compare it again, now we'll see that all of the branches are now building off of the main branch. That concludes our demo. Thank you for watching. In addition to managing workspaces at scale, we can also manage them individually. So our next demo, we're going to dive into creating a new workspace from a single command. We're going to be able to clone a workspace, including the variables, and really manage those workspace variables if you need to create new ones, set existing ones, or even remove no longer needed variables. And also with that specific workspace, you'll be able to back up the state as well as view it. So this next demo I'll do on my Mac, and we're going to look at working with individual workspace. I pulled up the GUI so we can follow along, and I searched for any workspace of Fahim's, and we see that there are no workspaces there. So with a one-line command, I'm going to create a new workspace, and I confirm it. I can set all the parameters, and instantly you see that new workspace created in the UI. So let's run through and create a couple of workspace variables. So we'll go to the variables, and we'll see that there are currently no variables as this is a new workspace. And I want to set a couple variables. You simply specify the workspace you want to modify, and use the Terraform workspace commandlet, and you set the key as well as the value. And you can use the HCL switch, you can use the sensitive switch, and hide the values. So we're going to create just a couple dummy workspace variables for Fahim here. Run through this one, takes a refresh, and you can see now we have these 3 workspace variables provisioned into this workspace. So now the fun part, what if you want to clone this workspace? So now you can use the copy Terraform workspace command, and you just simply specify the source and the destination. I'm going to go back to the, on the left side, you see that there's only one dev environment. So now we're going to do a clone, and we're going to name this one prod. So now we have a prod workspace, and all the workspace settings are identical as well as the variables. So we want to go in and look at what these variables are, so we can make an update to them. So notice that the environment variable is still dev. So we want to just switch that over to prod. You can click through it in the GUI, or again, just run a simple PowerShell command. And now that's updated to prod. And say you've done testing or you're decommissioning, you can just simply use the remove, and of course doing a confirmation to make sure you don't accidentally remove something you don't want to. And so we chose yes for one and no for the other. It's going to go through each of the objects and handle them accordingly. So now let's look into workspace variables. Let's you can get, create new, remove, or set. Doing another little quick demo. We're going to get all the workspace variables for Freddy now. And this is a great way to compare between 2 workspaces. Say you have multiple environments, but there's some inconsistencies, and so you want to make sure that you set those variables the way that you want them to be. So notice that there's a typo there. There's 2 Lambda functions, so let's remove one of them. And let's go over, we'll just start up the UI to be able to compare and see it live. And now we're going to create a new variable, and we're going to set that brand new variable to value 1. And you know, say you do your testing and now you want to set that, so you just simply use the set verb instead of the new verb for Terraform workspace variables. And that's it. Simple workspace management. Now we can compare the 2. And looks like I had a little error on my side. I had a typo for my typo. So let's do a copy and paste and go ahead and fix that. And then do a compare for real and make sure that it's accurate. And now the two environments are identical, including the HCL property or the sensitive. Another demo real quick is you can get the Terraform state for a specific workspace. And as you do different plan applies, you're going to get multiple Terraform state saved. And so you can look at all of them in a list format or in a table format. And so here you can see the different versions of the state saved here. And just for simplicity, I'm going to save the current, right? So you can use the current switch and that'll grab the latest. And I'm going to save that to the state variable. Here's an output of that. As you can see the different properties, there's when it was created, the size of it, what modules are used, what resources are in there. And you can parse through those properties and find, these are all the modules, and then you can also do a table view of the various resources. So again, you can quickly see what resources are there. And you can simply start process on that download URL, and that'll download that state file. So this is, again, something you can just set up a cron job and, on a regular basis, backup state files if you desire that. And I just did a get content to look through and view that state file that we just downloaded. Run management is critical. The next demo we're going to jump into, I'm going to cover, looking at all workspaces, you can pull out the run status of the entire organization. That gives you the ability to discard failed runs. You can also plan and apply them. You can lock workspaces, you can unlock them, you can manage all of that with very few commands. So jumping into run management, I wanted to show a little bit more about the comparison between, here's Linux, right? So I'm on my Mac. With PowerShell, you can do a ls and it'll give you output in that you're used to. We can run PowerShell, and now you can, I'm going to install the module, and I'm going to connect to Terraform. I'm going to use the -terracred switch, which will let me authenticate via Terracreds. There's a link at the end of the video where you can go to download that. So again, kind of the difference between ls and dir. PowerShell, they programmed it in a way that will output whatever you're used to seeing. So if you come from a Linux or a Mac environment. So we're going to get the various versions or the different verbs for Terraform run. So you can get, set, and start. And we're gonna get all the current state. We're going to group them, filter them, and even discard some of the failed plans. So with this, since it's going to parse through all of each workspace, and it's going to look at the run state of each, I like to usually save this to a variable so you're not hitting the server each time. So get Terraform workspace for each of them, get Terraform run where it's current. And so we'll let that run for a moment, and then we can execute that new variable you just created and see the output of that. And then from there, we can go through and manipulate it, looking at, you can group it or look at the various statuses and filter it. So it finished. Here are the different plans that were run, and we can group them. We can group them by status, and you get a good snapshot of all of the run state in your entire organization. You can sort it by where the status not equals applied, or status equals planned, or if it's like something, you can use wildcards. And so you can even add in some other PowerShell commandlets to filter and say, I want to get the created date if it's older than 3 days. So maybe you might have a stale plan running that you might want to get rid of. So we're going to pull up the GUI to be able to compare. And you can see that you have a prod environment and a staging environment. Both are in a plan state. You can go through and look at what actions you can set. You can look at the help file and you can see that you can apply, discard, cancel, and sometimes you might need to force an execution or cancel. So that's where it's planned. Let's set the Terraform run action to discard. And because of this, you want to make sure that, you know, the confirmation is added so that you don't break anything. So it asks you if you want to confirm discarding this particular run, and you can hit yes, and we'll discard both of those. So now you have your Terraform environment doesn't have any runs. Now we're going to do a get run on a specific workspace, and when you execute that get Terraform run, and here the example we're using is OSIF, you'll see all the different plans that have been planned for that workspace. You can use the current switch, and that will show you the latest run, which in this case was discarded, and you can see the message, it was queued by PowerShell. We'll do a comparison with the GUI, and you can see in there the run status. And currently the workspace is unlocked, but say you want to lock down the workspace to prevent it from having any plan or apply. Say maybe your production workloads, you want to help secure those workspaces and lock them. So you can do a simple lock Terraform workspace. And as you can see now that it's locked, we can run a plan, but nothing's going to happen because it's not allowed. And so we'll give it a moment. You can see that the plan is pending, but it's not able to actually execute. So we'll have to go and we can look at the current, and we'll see that it's pending and it's queued, but not unable to execute. So we want to unlock it. We'll hide the confirmation, and you can do that again just with a simple command, and you'll see that the lock will be removed, and the plan will automatically start running. And that lock there is just because it's in the middle of a plan, so that's Terraform locking it. We'll give that a little bit of time to run, and then once it finishes, as it just did, now we can do a set apply, and this will actually apply the plan. You can go through and that message that we said, you can see that it has that message with the plan. You can see the different variables or the different resources that Terraform is provisioning. Shout out to Asif for setting up this workspace for me. Thanks. And now that plan is running and it's applying. We'll give that some time. As that runs, I'll pull up AWS. Let's look at, as you can see, there's no running instances. We'll give that some time to run, and then we'll be able to go into AWS and see that Terraform provisioned all of those resources through code. So while that runs, let's look at a better use case that would be helpful. You know, instead of just managing one workspace, we can again manage it in bulk. So we can say, you know, let's get the first 5 of these workspaces, or maybe get one of the workspaces and list all of the parameters that are saved to that workspace. And you can go and look at the locked parameter and see if it's locked or not. But you can look through, and all the various settings you can filter on any of these. So in this case, we'll go to locked, and so we're going to get all of the workspaces in your organization where locked equals true. And you can see there are currently no workspaces that are locked. Let's go and look for our prod workspaces, and so you have a handful of prod workspaces here to kind of play around with. And we'll want to, if the name is like prod, I want to lock them. And you can, it'll go line by line on each object. So you can say yes to the first one, say, you know, yes to the second one. And, you know, instead of, if you have hundreds of workspaces, then you can just press A, and apply it to all of those workspaces. So you can see that the locks popped up. We'll hit all and apply it to all workspaces. And now we'll just confirm also through the UI, or we've seen it in the UI, now we want to confirm it also through the command line, and you can do get where locked equals true, and then you can, unlock them, one or all of them. So in this case, we're unlocking Oscar's prod workspace, and we can get Terraform where it equals locked and unlock them all and suppress the confirmation to make our lives a little easier. One less click. So let's come back to look and see if our plan is complete, and we can see everything's been provisioned within Terraform. Now we're going to go over to AWS, do a refresh, and now we can see that those 2 VMs were provisioned. So that concludes our video. Hope you enjoyed watching. Have a good one. So there's still lots more of content to cover, but for the sake of time, I just had to leave this one out of the slide. There's no demo for the module registry, although you've seen the other commands, and you can, from that knowledge, you'll be able to easily see how to manage the module registry, right? So you can use get tf module, and you can list the entire registry. You can look at a specific version. You can look at the latest version of a specific module. And you also have the ability to publish and remove modules. So this is key as you're developing modules, to be able to test and see, another option is to remove modules that, maybe 5 versions back, you want to just remove deprecated modules. So you can schedule a job to automatically take care of that registry hygiene. Now that you've seen the power of PowerShell, pun intended, you can follow this get started. All you need to do is just install the PowerShell module for Terraform. It's the specific Terraform, not PS Terraform, not these other modules that are out there. And then really a big shout out to Tony for creating TerraCreds. You'll want to use that to manage your credential, and it supports cross-platform. So whether you're on Linux, Windows, or Mac, it'll use that local OS credential store to save your API token. And then lastly, you want to go into Terraform and create that token that'll give you access to the API, and you're all set. All you need to do is just follow these quick, easy steps, and you'll be off to the races. I give a special thanks to my wife for holding it down as I work, and my 3 beautiful daughters. And I put up our theme scripture here for our marriage. It's be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. And she definitely bears with me. And thank you for bearing with me. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and that it's helpful for you and your organization. I also want to give a special shout out to the City National Bank team. Really, when I joined the bank, I had no Terraform experience. And it was really, Fahim and Freddie who really showed me the ropes. They're Terraform Jedis. They do a great job, along with Asif and Tony. So Asif, special shout out there as well. He set up the AWS infrastructure that we provisioned here today, and then we have Tony, who created TerraCreds. And then also I want to make note of some management folks, as well as the Cloud SRE team. Thanks for all you guys do. Super grateful working with such a great team. And then can't leave out the HashiCorp group. Really, Will Anderson has thank you for all your help. It's been great, talking to you about PowerShell and your Microsoft days, and it's been a blast creating this. And thanks again for all your help and the rest of the team there. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Paul T. Kelly, or GitHub, pkelly808. Have a good one.